Hey everybody, and welcome to the Muffly Movies Pickup. It's only going to be in one part this time because I really didn't get that much stuff in October. I got some good horror movies that you'll see at the end of the video. Plus, I picked up some nice animation stuff and a couple things from Larry's shop on that last trip I didn't film, which I should have filmed, but we'll start off with that first. And it's a little nice little pickups here. Now, one of the first things I picked up from Larry's shop while I was there at my last trip was a volume of Thundercats Volume 2, or Season 1. This is the second part of Season 1, which I needed. And from what I remember, I think Jason that runs Spookables told me there's like four sets of these, I believe. So I've got the first two volumes. So this gives me all Season 1 of Thundercats. The first volume I picked up in a pawn shop pickups video that was, I think, last year, possibly. I think it was last fall or maybe spring. It was in there somewhere where I picked up the first part of them. So I have the first 33 episodes, and this gives me the rest of Season 1 to take it to 65. So this is kind of cool to pick up. And Larry had it priced reasonable. He didn't have it priced outrageous, which is really good. Now, I picked this up at Cheap Thrills. I saw it in there and I said, I got to get this before it gets sold. Because I don't have this movie. And it's a cult classic and it's a movie that bombed for Marvel. It is Howard the Duck. Oh yeah, Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck was not a very good movie. George Lucas wanted to do the movie, and Marvel's Howard the Duck was revolutionary back in the 70s. The late 70s, the character introduced Kiss to comics at one time. So, by the time George Lucas got to the character, he was going to do animation. He was going to animate Howard the Duck. And then he's like, no, let's do live action. It's not a good movie, but it's one of those, it's so bad, it's good. So I had to pick it up. It's a classic 80s essential movie. Plus, where else are you going to watch Howard the Duck? I don't even think it's on Disney Plus, is it? Eddie would know. He'll probably tell me. Now, speaking of another comedy, I had to get this at the pawn shop because he laid out some new movies. He laid out a big section of new movies during the month of October, and they had Mike Myers, the best of Mike Myers. There's a lot of these sets I've got. I've got Dana Carvey, Mike Myers. I think I got Phil Hartman's, possibly. They don't make these best of sets anymore, which is really sad because the best of sets to me is really cool to see. And I think in the early 2000s, after they did Will Ferrell's, they stopped putting them out because SNL, really they need to put out season sets. They need to do season sets of the 86 to 92 cast. That 86 to 92 cast is probably one of the most successful casts that ever came out. Because, almost every person went on to movies and TV shows. And I know people say, well, what about 94? Maybe it's 86 to 94, but by the time Carvey left in 93, things had started to trickle down. Once Phil Hartman, who was called the Glue, left, it was time to rebuild Saturday Night Live. I'm a big Saturday Night Live fan. I can sit there and spend this whole video discussing all the seasons and everything. Eddie could tell you. Speaking of comedians, I picked up an 89 classic that is barely seen nowadays, barely mentioned. It's called She-Devil with Roseanne. And this movie has, with Ed Begley and Meryl Streep, it's pretty fun. It's pretty decent. And Meryl Streep was originally going to play, I think she's going to play the wife that gets cheated on. And she's like, no, I don't want to do roles like that. So she basically wanted to play, because she had done played one of the roles, I believe. So she's like, I want to play somebody different. And she went ahead and played I can't think of her name. Mary Fisher. She went ahead and played Mary Fisher, the writer. It's a really good movie, comedy-wise, for what this woman does to her ex-husband. She basically makes a list of all the ways that she's going to take everything from him. His job, his money, his new love, his kids, and then his freedom. So she basically comically does this Don't mess with Roseanne. Now, this is one I've been looking for, and I'd see it in the pawn shop, but the disc was in just too bad a shape. It is Johnny Depp in the director's cut of Crybaby. Crybaby is a John Waters film, and it's about juvenile delinquency in the 50s, and it's just out there. It's this type of role that Johnny Depp would do. He'd become famous for doing these offbeat, weird movies. And you can see Johnny Depp was young back in the day. You know, and it showed him clean shaven. He actually looks like an older version of his 90s self. I mean, he looks with his clean shaven face, he looks like he looks like 10 or 15 years younger without the beard and everything. And it looks like he's losing weight, and it looks like he's trying to regain himself back. And I think he could do it, you know. He'll never be this Pirates of the Caribbean star he once was, but he could still do offbeat roles like this and still have a career. And Crybaby is one of those good movies. Yeah, this in there. It felt a lot weightless, but yeah, it's a good movie, and I love the scene with Hatchet Face. Now, here's one I showed Eddie. Basically, Ivan Reitman had wanted to do a new. He was wanting to do Ghostbusters 3, but they couldn't get Ghostbusters 3 into production for the long. We got the video game in 2009, which is really Ghostbusters 3, but he could never get the cast to do it. You know, Bill Murray was always a hold-up, and him and Harold Ramis had stopped talking for so long, and they made up at near the end, and I think Murray regrets doing that because him and Ramis were really close, and all it took was one movie to make them stop being friends a while. And so Reitman wanted to do a movie, Ghostbusters, but the closest thing he could do was called a movie called Evolution, which has characters that's almost quasi Ghostbusters in a way. And this is featuring an alien invasion, and it's got David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Sean William Scott. It's basically a close comparison to Ghostbusters. And somebody broke it down on YouTube about some of the similarities involved. So I ain't seen it in years, so it's worth a watch to get again. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Now, one of the things I've been collecting, and I've tried to push Eddie to do it, is wrestling DVDs. And for the last couple of years, I've looked into some great stuff. I found a good set of wrestling DVDs at Goodwill one time, and I've got a good many of the TNA ones. The Kurt Angle, Abyss. I think I got Jeff Hardy's from there. So all kinds of good TNA ones, and some good WWE ones. So the pawn shop has started getting wrestling DVDs, the pawn shops. And I found the Macho Madness, the Randy Savage collection. Oh yeah! Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah! The Macho King. Yeah, baby. The madness. There's a guy on my Facebook who is, bar none, one of the best Macho Man Randy Savage impersonators. I can't think of his name, but he is really good. I mean, he shot a video of him in Walmart, and you would think it's Randy Savage. Like him throwing these like, this figure don't matter. This figure, they're not the Macho Man. But yeah, this is really good. I love having this set, this 3-disc set, and I can't believe they priced this for $1, man. It's still, and the discs are in great shape. And I'll show you another one I got for $1. It was the history of the World Wrestling Federation Championship, and it's too as a 3-disc set. And nothing against streaming, but I like the physical media. And owning these wrestling DVDs has really been good. And I've picked up a good many of them that I've needed. The tag teams, and I think I got the Rise and Fall of WCW. So very happy with what I've picked up the last few years from wrestling. Now let's get to the action. Since we stay in action. You know, wrestling is action, so we stay in action. I picked up Beowulf, which I've never seen. I've got the game of this, but I've never seen it. This one is going to be, it's a Robert Zemeckis film. I've never seen it, so it's going to be interesting to see. Now I'm back. I picked up this one, and this shocked me. This one pawn shop where I picked up those wrestling DVDs. Like I said, they put out a whole new set of DVDs and movies and everything. And I went in there and I just like, okay, need that one. Need that one. I picked up season 1 of Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. This was real. They have said that this is the last time Terminator was worth a damn. And yeah, the Dark Fate is utter crap. They haven't put out a good movie since Salvation was okay. It was a different twist on things, but Terminator 2, you needed to stop. After Terminator 2, no more. But somebody will dust it off and be like, we could do another sequel to Terminator. You wait and see. Somebody will do that. Now, I got 2 good Blu-rays here. 2 good Blu-rays. And one of them is Grindhouse. I got this one at... It's like an action horror film. They went ahead and counted it as horror because they was doing their sale. Cheap Thrills was you buy one get one free, so they went ahead and counted it as a horror film. So I was able to get this one for free when I bought another one. But I got Death Proof and Planet Terror. So this is kind of cool on Blu-ray. And from Larry's shop, with what I picked up Batman, the 4-film collection of 1989 to 1997. And now I've got this set. I've got this set already, but I love this cover, man. Look at this cover. I was like, I really like, less is more. Less is more at times. And, look at that. I was like, I'm basically going to get rid of the other set and just roll with this because I don't really need it. Now, we're going to get to horror films. And like I said, Cheap Thrills had a buy one, get one free horror sale. And it's getting harder to find what I really need. Because I've got most of the series now. And it's getting hard. It's a big trip out there now. So, I was up there and I picked up these 2 in a set from Cheap Thrills. I got Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which is a classic horror comedy, and I love that character where he goes, Tucker, he died right into the wood chipper. And me and the guy just bust out. Like, we all laughed at some of the scenes, and he's like, police, these kids are suiciding themselves. It's just funny as shit. It's a good twist on the evil hillbillies that we see. And if you ain't watched Tucker versus Dale, you've really missed out in life. You've really missed out. Because it's probably one of the funniest horror comedies. And they've tried to make a sequel to it, but they've not been able to. Because the script ain't been good. And I think they've just went ahead and dropped the idea. One great film is what you need. Everything ended perfect. You don't need to keep coming back. I got Dahmer, which is one of the early 2000 films based on Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, everybody's talking about the recent Netflix series where I've seen some people make complaints like, oh, they're glamorizing a serial killer. And I was like, man, I don't think that's the idea. They make horror films about John Wayne Gacy and stuff like that because it's horror films. And this was one of the early 2000s. Now, at the pawn shop, I picked up Ginger Snaps Unleashed 2 with Eddie's recommendation. He says he's going to try to find me the first one and the third one. The first, he said, do not watch this one because you need to watch the first one. So I said, okay, Eddie, I will not watch it until you find me the first one if you can. He was lucky. He found me some good stuff there. So you'll see. I picked up Vintage Movie Classics, and this one is one I'm going to put in my player now and play. The guy at the pawn shop who knows me and Eddie said try it out, and it's got Wes Craven's Chiller and Maniac. 2 films I really want to watch. I want to watch it and Maniac. So there's 3 films on it. They got Gothic on here too. They got Gothic, Maniac, and Wes Craven's Chiller. So I'm going to try this out. I'm going to see if it works. I had the disc cleaned at Cheap Thrills. Cross your fingers. Let's hope. He said he'll take it back and let me trade it in. So we'll see. Now, at Cheap Thrills, I did the buy one get one free. I picked up the only Stephen King film I think I need right now is Needful Things, which is a very, very good horror film. Guy moves into this old man moves into this small town, opens up a shop, and he starts giving the townspeople, he basically turns the whole town against each other, and it's really a unique story. So I really like that. And I picked up Ghost Ship, which has one of the best horror openings of all time. If you ain't watched Ghost Ship in that first opening, you're thinking, shit's about to get real. Shit's about to get real. You're thinking you're going to watch probably the most intense movie you've ever seen. And the movie really doesn't live up to the opening. I mean, it's a decent horror film, but man, that opening is just whack. You're thinking, man, it's going to be, man. Now, I talked about Eddie earlier, and he did help me find a movie I needed. He helped me find one of the Texas Chainsaw films I needed. And it was Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. He helped me find this one. I think he got it at a pawn shop. And he picked it up for me. He said, hey, I got it. And I made him a trade for it. So that was nice of Eddie to do. And I had Cheap Thrills order me this one finally, because I needed to complete this series. I got finally tired of not finding it. And I needed this one movie in George Romero's Dawn, all the Dawn films, all the Dead films. All the Dead. I needed Day of the Dead, the classic one, not none of the shitty remakes they've done. So, none of the awful films. They've made 2 or 3 sequels to this movie, or remakes, or whatever it was, and all of them have sucked. It's like they get worse each time they decide to roll the dice at it. They actually have a Day of the Dead TV series. It sucks. At some point, stop making Day of the Dead. You're just making sucky things out of it. If you was going to do it, do the original premise that he pitched. It was a huge script. It was like he's going to call it the Gone with the Wind of zombie films. Make a TV series out of that. Make a TV series out of the script he pitched. Do not make it out of your desire to make it a comedy fest. Make it a Three Stooges film. If you want to do that, get the F out. But I went ahead and picked this one up on Eddie's recommendation. This is Cemetery Gates. I have never seen it. Rest in pieces, but I took Eddie's recommendation on it. Another one that Eddie recommended, and he said, you need to get this one. It's The House That Dripped Blood. Oh yeah, The House That Dripped Blood. With Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Those two guys were really close. Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, they were best friends. And I think I might have told the story. Lee, they done so many movies together, and they become close. And Lee, when Cushing died, he said once you lose that person that you were close to, you can never have them back. You never can. You lose something, and you kind of felt, he didn't have his best friend to do, and it's sad, but they're together now. Lee and Cushing are probably the great beyond now, having a good laugh together. I always like to think positive like that. I got Dracula Untold. Every bloodline has a beginning. I've never seen this one. It looks interesting as hell. An origin story of Dracula. This looks pretty interesting. I have Silent Night with Malcolm McDowell and Jamie King, and I think Eddie recommended this one. Silent Night. I think this is the new Silent Night. I think they made so many Silent Night films, and I think this is one of the new remakes of it. Another one that Eddie recommended at the pawn shop was The Wolfman, with Anthony Hopkins and Del Toro. I'm not even going to pronounce his first name because I know I'm going to screw that up. So, Del Toro. Now, this one is one that I picked up with Eddie when he was sitting there with me. This is a 7 documentary set of aliens and more alien contact and UFO crashes, and it's encounters from another dimension. It looks pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, there's a lot of good horror films I picked up at the end of October here, you know. I think I timed it good. October 31st. Almost, you know, the final weekend, you know. I think I timed this one pretty well. I picked up Devil, which this is really nice. If you've never seen Devil, it's like these 5 strangers get on an elevator. But there's something creepy about one of them. One of them is not who they seem to be. And it's really a nice story. And I'm not going to give it away because it's good and creepy. I picked up the first Candyman. I love that cover, actually. You know, they've got 2 or 3 different DVD covers, and I actually like this cover the best. I mean, look at that. The eye looking at you. Whew. Yeah. They've recently remade Candyman. I don't know if it's as good as the original, but nothing is really as good as the originals, as the saying goes. It's very rare, like maybe The Thing by John Carpenter. I picked up Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, which Matt Smith got praised for on this one. This is a unique twist on Pride and Prejudice, and he actually added zombies to it. Slay with pride, kill with prejudice. I love that. I love that saying. Slay with pride, kill with prejudice. Now here's one I picked up, and I like this one. This one really creeped me out. The cover alone. The House at the End of Time. The House at the End of Time. Creepy. I gotta say, the last 2 months I've really kicked some ass on horror films. I don't know what it is. I've laid it down, son. I put the pedal to the metal on the horror films. I mean, and I guess October will be the month of horror films that I picked up because I'm running out of stuff to pick up. And Eddie, you might like this one. This is from Tobe Hooper. It's the 2-disc special edition that I got from Larry's shop. It is Eaten Alive. Never heard of this film. I was like, man, that's a cool cover. And, yeah, Eaten Alive. Yeah, that's kind of cool. From the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's the only reason I picked it up. I was like, he made Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This could be a pretty good film. And finally, the last thing I picked up was from Cheap Thrills. It is Nightmares and Dreamscapes from the stories of Stephen King. Season set. Yeah, that's kind of cool. But that's it. That's the movie haul for... I wanted to put it all in one because it wasn't as big, massive as it was, as I normally get. There will not be a movie haul in November. I will go ahead and put that out. There will be a Christmas haul because I gear up for November on for Christmas. So there's going to be a Christmas movie haul and probably a Christmas video game haul. So stay tuned for that on Christmas. But I do want to thank you for watching these monthly movie hauls. They have become very popular. I've looked at the views on them and I'm like astounded. I'm astounded that people love watching these. And these are the most popular videos on my channel, and I'm just stunned. I was like, man, I didn't know people really like watching these monthly movie pickups. But and I want to thank all the people that have subbed the channel. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for liking the videos and subbing. And hey, I'll try to keep doing these monthly movie hauls into 2023 if I can find good stuff. But thanks again. Thanks for all your support. I hope you like and sub the channel some more. And just keep on watching, folks, because I'm going to go watch some Wes Craven's Chiller right now. Till next time.